Hello and good evening, everyone. We called our meeting to order earlier in our closed executive session, so now we are ready to begin the public portion of our meeting. So we're about halfway through the school year, and I just wanted to take this time as a good reminder for parents and caregivers that when you do have concerns or questions about something specific to your child's experience, it's highly recommended that you and your children go directly to their teachers. Learning to advocate for yourself is a skill. It's a very important skill that will set up our students for future success. And of course, if the teacher cannot address or answer your questions at that time, they can also direct you to someone else who can be an appropriate point of contact, such as a counselor, a nurse, or any of the principals at your schools. So I say this as a reminder because it can be difficult to figure out who to turn to, especially when we have all of these communication channels available to us. Beyond the school channels, the official ones like the website or the weekly newsletters, there's a ton of social media groups out there, which is great for keeping us all connected. However, it is quite overwhelming to keep up with all of these. So I do caution on relying on these avenues for answers directly related to your child's unique situation. So we highly encourage that you maintain open dialogue with your children's teachers and staff. And if you're unsure how to reach them, the email address format is firstname.lastname@wwprsd.org. And having these open lines of communication will just be great and foster more productive discussions. So I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Adderhold for any reminders or comments.
Good evening, everyone. Just two different reminders. We are closed on Friday for Professional Development Day for staff, and we are closed on Monday for President's Day. So I know parents have already received communications about both. But for students, that's a 4-day weekend. For staff, it's a 3-day. So again, we do have a wonderful PD day planned, thanks to Dr. Gould and her team. And then just with respect to weather, as we have snow flurries outside, and I know that there is questions as our surrounding districts are starting to delay for tomorrow, but delay with a reassessment. So just to talk through my thinking on this over the last decade plus of making these calls. I do not like what's called double messaging, so I do not like calling a delay and then changing something in the morning. I actually like to see snow if possible before making any kind of calls. So I will always err on the side of hesitating until the weather starts, if possible, and then to avoid a double call or a double messaging, which means tonight will most likely be uncertain going into the evening unless the forecast shifts to heavier snow. But I'll be working with Building and Grounds and others throughout the evening. We have a 4:30 a.m. snow call with other superintendents, and we'll be making a call to either delay and or close tomorrow, a singular message. I'll always err on the side of safety when it comes to making sure that our buses can safely come through and deliver our students to school. But I also have to be mindful that our staff comes in from over 90 different municipalities, and that as our staff is coming, more than 50% of our staff is south, West Windsor-Plainsboro or south of us. And as such, I have to be mindful, do we have enough individuals to actually operate a school district safely and to meet our students' needs? So yes, I have to look at what the weather is here in West Windsor and Plainsboro, but two, I have to be mindful of, can I safely get our staff here to be able to educate our children? The other question I get around this is, can we move to virtual? And the answer in New Jersey is no. While we did virtual instruction during the COVID time period, that was under executive order. In New Jersey, the current law is there has to be an emergency closing for 3 consecutive days, and then you can petition based on a public safety reason to move to virtual after that. The challenge then is the next storm. You start over the clock at 0, and you have to go 3 days of closure before you can do it again. So right now, that's the current rules. There's been bill after bill after bill over the last decade with around this idea, and I know there's some pending right now. But right now, the law does not prohibit us or prohibits us from moving to a virtual day, even a virtual half day. It gets confusing in this area because the private schools are not held to those same laws. So sometimes you hear the private schools are doing it, and then people say, well, why not WWP? Also in Pennsylvania, we have a lot of folks that travel across. The laws are different in Pennsylvania. And then we do have a handful of New Jersey districts that actually have more than 180 days of instruction. So they will use snow days or they'll flip to a virtual day, but it doesn't count as one of their 180 mandated days. So it's basically like practice instruction virtually, so they're prepared in case they move to it. So just because you're hearing other districts doing it doesn't mean it's allowed or that it's counted as a legal day. So we continue to have that conversation and fight for the right for virtual. But I am a believer in snow days when appropriate, and I think it's a right that we granted during COVID as well. We had snow days during virtual days then, because I do think there's something something about childhood and snow days. But I'll always make them when there's actually snow. So right now I see a lot of wet out the window here, and I see windows of cars covered, but I don't see snow on the ground. It's way too early to make a call at 7:40 in the evening, and we'll keep monitoring throughout the night to make the right decision to get the staff and the students in here safely. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dr. Adderhold, and it's a good reminder, too, to make sure you check in Genesis that you have an updated and current email and phone number so that you get that message tomorrow morning about school if there is a decision. So next, we're actually, because of the weather, we've asked the student representatives to come on February 25th instead. So they are home and safe. And now we can turn to our first opportunity for public comments. The board invites thoughts and reactions on agenda items and items of concern from members of our community who are present. Each participant is asked to give his or her name and address prior to making a statement, which will be limited to 3 minutes in accordance with Board Policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. This public comment period shall be limited to 60 minutes. Do we have a public comment? Seeing none, I will close this public comment period. And next on the agenda, we don't have any Board of Education committee reports, so we can actually move on to the voting portion of our meeting. Can I get a motion for administration items numbers 1 through 5, plus the purple addendum? Dana and Liz, any questions or comments? Or what? Okay. So Ms. Cheney, we are ready to vote.
Okay, great. Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Ms. George Genera,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. Bonsall,
Yes.
and Ms. McEwen.
Yes. We don't have any curriculum and instruction items to vote on this evening, so moving on to finance, can I get a motion for finance items numbers 1 through 11, Ajanta and Shweta? Any questions or comments? Okay.
Okay. Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. George Genera,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Bonsall,
Yes.
and Ms. McEwen.
Yes. And now can I get a motion for personnel item number 1 plus the green and pink addendum? Loy and Dana. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Okay. Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Ms. George Genera,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. Bonsall,
Yes.
and Ms. McEwen.
Yes. And before we move on, I do want to acknowledge we have several retirements that we just voted on. We have 8, actually. So I'll list out our retirees. Diane Chioka, French teacher from Grover, retiring after 24 years of service to the district. Rhonda DeWitt, Spanish teacher from Grover, retiring after 25 years in the district. Deborah Goodkin, language arts teacher at High School North, retiring after 35 years. Linda Scanlon, teacher resource specialist for instruction and intervention, who works out of Grover and Community Middle School, is retiring after 35 years with service to the district. Frau Anne-Marie Weidlich, German teacher at Grover, is retiring after 26 years. Angela Frazier, our High School South instructional assistant, is retiring after 24 and a half years. Arvid Allen, math teacher from High School North, is retiring after 28 years. And Lee Patrone, secretary at Wyckoff, is retiring after 27 and a half years. What an accomplished, distinguished group of retirees. So we just want to thank you for your many, many years of dedication and service to our district, and we wish you all the best in your retirements. So thank you. Next, we are going to approve the Board of Education minutes. Can I get a motion to approve not only the January 28 minutes, but also the closed executive session minutes from December 10th, 2024, which was provided via email? Pooja and Loy?
Okay.
Any questions? Or, oh, I'm sorry.
okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? I abstain from January 28th, A and B.
Yes, I also abstained from December 10th.
Okay, great. So now, do we have any board liaison reports this evening? Thanks, Dana.
Good evening, everyone. Just going to give an update on some news from New Jersey School Board Association. I'm, as a Mercer County delegate to the New Jersey School Board Association's Board of Directors, which is the governing body of the New Jersey School Board Association, I just wanted to share some key points from our Board of Directors meeting, which was on January 31st. The Board of Directors unanimously approved the NJSBA 2025-2026 budget, and this budget includes a 1.5% overall increase in members' dues, and there's variability based on each member's size and district, the size of their district operating budget. Our district is at the top of but there's a limit on that. There's a cap. And there's a continued increase in contribution of non-dues revenues, no increase in budgeted headcount. And of course, they are dealing with the same things that our district is dealing with, which is higher than inflation increases for certain non-controllable expenses, such as healthcare costs, insurance, and employer contributions to PERS retirement plan. They're also, if any of you have looked at gotten the email, they are debuting something called the Capitol Watch. It's a brand new quarterly online newsletter, and it provides critical updates on pending legislation that could significantly impact New Jersey schools, students, and communities. Their government relations team is tracking nearly 1,800 pieces of legislation at the State House, and Capitol Watch provides concise summaries of pending bills, updates on their progress, and information about NJSBA's official position in one easy access source. It's going to be 4 times a year, quarterly. There's a few upcoming training programs. I know one of my board colleagues is going to the Women's Leadership Conference on March 31st, and there's a couple of other things coming up. Public Relations Forum and an Equity Expo. And the Board of Directors will next meet on March 28th. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Dana. Do we have any other liaison reports? Go ahead, Liz.
Just want to mention also that the district, the Board of Education and Superintendent, we had attended the Lunar New Year celebration, which was really nicely done. It was so nice to see the different performances by the children of the community and the attendants. So it's a very nice celebration, as well as Black History Month, so recognizing that as well.
Awesome, thanks, Liz. And I know a couple of us went to Marie Talk's Science Fair. I think it's Science Fair season for our elementary schools as well. Do we have any other liaison reports? Nope. Okay, this takes us to our second opportunity. Oh, nope, it does not. Do we have any new business? Nope. Okay, now it takes us to our second opportunity for public comments. The board invites comments from members of our community who are present. Each participant is asked to give his or her name and address prior to making a statement, which will be limited to 3 minutes in accordance with Board Policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. This public comment period shall be limited to 15 minutes. Do we have any public comment tonight? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, I'll close this public comment period and move to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Liz and Shweta, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Stay safe and warm, everyone. Thank you.